Cool. I have no idea if this is working or not. How do I find out? Are you serious? Okay. Two-factor. Cool. Cool. Is this working? Alright, it seems like the chat's working. That's cool. This is the most confusing interface I've ever seen. Oh my god, this is somehow more confusing than Instagram. Oh my god, there's someone in the chat. Pong. Oh my god. Hello, welcome. I actually didn't know if this was working or not, so that's awesome. That's incredible. Yeah. I'm in the YouTube studio trying to figure out like where the live setting is. There was like a live manager I got to, and now I don't know how I got there. So that's cool. Okay, cool. I can click it. I can manage it. Awesome. Hey, can you hear me all right? Like, is the audio good? Is it coming through good, or does it seem like there's like a massive delay or anything? It looks good on my end, but I can't really tell. Ah, it's quite the delay. Awesome, awesome. I'm glad you guys can hear me. There's like a 20-second delay. That seems crazy. Yes, this is my first YouTube live. I've done lives before on Instagram and some on TikTok, but I figured I would try like an actual horizontal one and do it on YouTube. So that's pretty neat. I don't know if there's a way to like reduce the latency, because that's like a crazy, crazy latency. Oh, it says it's set to normal, so I guess. Oh well. Cool. Yeah, this is awesome. So yeah, what's going on? How's everyone doing? This is my first live on here. I don't know if I'll stream or do lives regularly, but I figured I would just try one out just to see. I've done them on Instagram in the past, and people seem to enjoy them, so that's cool. And I figure it'd be fun to do it on YouTube because I can actually like type on a terminal and bring it up on screen. Just bear with me while I get used to this interface, because yeah, last time I streamed was like a couple years ago on a Windows computer for games. So now we're on a Mac computer for tech, and it's gonna be slightly different. But yeah, we'll see how this works. Can I see my live stream? I don't want to see myself. That'd be weird. Cool. It does show up. Sweet. I'm gonna click this. Please don't make any noise. Oh, it's me talking. Cringe. I'm shocked at the delay though. The latency seems crazy compared to like Twitch. Twitch was like very close to low latency. but that's okay. I'm sure it's not a big deal. Why does your room look like it's decorated for Christmas? So, fun story. 5, 6, 7 years ago. I don't know when it was. I decorated my house for Christmas, and I liked the way it looked, so I just didn't get rid of the decorations. Like, that's it. That's the story. I liked the Christmas lights, and I just left them up. They are smart controls, so they turn on and off automatically based on the time of day. Let's see right here. Living room Christmas lights. I can turn them off if I want. Just got my phone here with Home Assistant. I can just turn them back on. So that's pretty cool. A bunch of other lights are on, like automatic controls like that. Yeah, cool. Okay. Chat seems to be working. That's awesome. I don't think I'll get any sort of notifications. Let me remember. Because on Twitch there were subscribers, and on Instagram and TikTok there are like badges, I believe. And I don't think YouTube has anything. Like YouTube doesn't have paid subscribers. I think it might have memberships, but I don't think I have those turned on for my channel because I don't offer anything that would come from a membership. And the only other thing would be like super chats, which I think you have to pay for. I don't expect anyone to pay for super chats. Don't feel like you have to. I just want to make sure, like, if someone does, I don't want to miss it. But I think the chat tells me. So nothing will pop up on screen because I'm not that fancy. But yeah, okay, cool. That is awesome. Oh, cool. It tells me how many people are viewing. How many? Oh, neat. Okay, we got 14 concurrent viewers. What's up, 14 people? That's sick. That's actually really cool. Let me throw some timestamps on this chat for myself. Oh my god, those are wild emojis. That's super cute. Okay, cool. Yeah, YouTube seems pretty nice. Like I said, I streamed on Twitch in the past, but YouTube seems like genuinely like a really good place to stream. I see a lot of people streaming on here, so that's pretty neat. Okay, cool. Oh my god, is that like a loading emoji? That's cringe. That's so funny. Yeah, so I was gonna do a little bit of coding today. No real idea for a project from like start to finish. It's basically a project I've been working on for a while, so I haven't looked at this in like months, so it'd be kind of fun to bring it up in my head. There's a better word that I'm looking for. It's not coming to me. Reacquaint myself with it. There we go. Uber Shiny Sheep in YouTube chat says, "Hi Dave, my colleague introduced me to your channel and I've prescribed your bash lessons to a bunch of my junior colleagues." That is awesome. I'm glad to hear that. That's so fun. Yeah, I think right now, what are we up to? 35 episodes of ViewSocket programming, and then of course random videos that I've uploaded of me talking or random side projects. But 35 of the official thing. I think what I'm going to do is when I hit 50, I'm going to make a supercut of them. So I'll upload one big video where here's like all 50 episodes. One, because I can monetize it and make money on it, so that's pretty cool. But the real reason is just like, I know YouTube playlists can be kind of weird. So it'd be nice just to have like, here's like, an hour, or I don't know how long it would be actually. 50 times 3. Oh god, it could be a couple hours. Here's just all the videos back to back. Which is nice for people who like to download videos. If you want to download that YouTube video, then you have all 50 of my episodes. You don't have to worry about it that way. Let's see. Hey, I always see you on Instagram Reels. You always give good tips. Greetings from Argentina. Yo, thank you. I appreciate that. That's awesome. Yeah, Instagram seems to be my social media of choice. Not by choice, not my choice. It just blew up. I created the Instagram 6 months ago, and now I have 152,000 followers on it. Like, that's absurd. I created this YouTube at the same time, and we're at 12,000 subscribers. And 12,000 is awesome. I didn't think I'd hit 12,000 subscribers, but I certainly didn't think I'd hit 150,000 followers on Instagram. That's absurd. Let's see what we get here. Honestly, the most important thing was getting them to appreciate significant white space and variable expansion. It's tough to get people to understand that. Like, when white space matters, when it doesn't, when Bash is going to attempt to word split based on the white space. Yeah, there's so much that goes into that. So that's cool. That's cool to hear. Also, apologize for the voice. Sore throat. I think it feels like I'm getting sick, but just because of the voice. I don't have any sick symptoms. I'm not coughing. I'm not doing anything like that. So yeah, I have no idea what's going on. Also, my webcam totally just did something. I put my hands up. My webcam just decided to It just blinked at me and then it started moving. So that was wild. I don't know what's happening there. Is it like oh, it's face tracking me. That's cringe. I don't like that. But whatever. Actually, maybe it's kind of nice. It's kind of a little bit more active. You can see what's over here in my house. Huh, that's cool. I don't like that at all. But I'll turn that off later. We'll worry about that later. So yeah, let's jump into it. Let me know if this works. I'm gonna try a different scene in OBS. I've never done this. You just click this and cool. So if that worked how I expected it to, let me check this out. We should have a full screen terminal, and I should just be in the right hand side of the bottom. And it looks like it's working. Cool. So I don't know how legible this is. I try to make the font size like good enough. But yeah, basically what's happening here is I'm working on a command to make SMF easier for me in Illumos, to kind of be nice around SMF. So if you've seen like systemd on Linux or whatever, or run it on Void Linux, it's a way of managing frameworks. So on Illumos, we have SVCS, and I can see all of my services that are running. I'm working on a new version of it, a wrapper in Rust that can do colored output and stuff. So I'll show you an example. If I run my program with the list argument, we get the exact same output, but it's nice and colored. We have the service name in green. This here, we have the check mark letting us know the service is running. We have the PID if it's found, the number of PIDs that there are. Actually, it's a contract ID, how long ago the service was started. So cool stuff. So I need to finish this. I got pretty far with it, but I never actually just like kind of crossed the finish line with it. Dumb question, but what exactly do you code? Security, cloud, Linux? So like for my day job, I'm dealing with freshly racked servers. So I'm going to be dealing with BIOS upgrades, hard drive upgrades, network validation, hardware validation, all sorts of things, making sure we have the right models in the right rack location, all talking to each other correctly. So the stuff that I'm coding is all around that, writing software to handle doing upgrades without any sort of user intervention, writing software to detect current versions of things and come up with a plan. So we can say like, oh, we have this machine at this version. Well, at the end of this plan, we want this machine to be here with this version and we want it to run like this. So working on the software that can kind of triage that. So yeah. Hey, what do you think about Linus firing all the Russian programmers working on the kernel? I have no idea. I don't keep up with what's happening on the Linux kernel. Probably won't comment on that. I haven't even heard of that, to be honest, but I don't keep up on what goes on with the Linux kernel. In fact, on this terminal, we're using the Illumos kernel, so like we're not even dealing with Linux here at all. Let's see. Do you have any recommendations for running a cloud-hosted VM for development purposes? Not necessarily for deploying anything, but having a machine where I can have common dev environment across systems. Cloud-hosted VM. Do you mean like, do I have any recommendations for a company to host the VM? I mean, I have no idea. I'm the worst person to ask. I don't host anything in the cloud. I host them in my closet downstairs. So like I have a server rack there and that's how I do it. So honestly, I am not the guy to ask when it comes to cloud stuff. Unfortunately, I can't really help you out with that. I think the last provider I used was a DigitalOcean for like a $5 a month VPS. And that kind of got the job done for me. Does it involve any C++? At my job, no. We're dealing with old stuff written in Perl and Python, and the new stuff's typically Rust or a little bit of C sometimes. Do you mind if I borrow your Chad face as an emoji for our company Slack? You have my blessing. That is hilarious. Oh, man. I love that. I actually send that face to some of my friends like as a meme. So yes, yeah, you absolutely have my blessing. Go ahead and point them to this part of the live stream where I explicitly say you are allowed to. Absolutely. I think that's beautiful. I love that. So I don't even remember where I was with this. I was doing stuff with this. Did I push this? Is this on GitHub? It's been months since I have looked at this. It is on GitHub. Cool. When was my last commit? Oh, wow. Okay, it has not been months. It has been a year since I have done anything in this code base. So, oh boy. This is going to be fun to remind myself how it works. Yeah, October 9th, 2023. Look at that. Also, if you guys don't do this, I would totally recommend having some sort of header that you put into your source files. I like to put, my name, the date, and the license. But the date is key because it helps me remember, like, when I was working on something. So it's in my vimrc. You can look it up in my on my GitHub. I have my dot files there. I type me : and I hit enter, and then it just fills in all that with the current date. So that's how I do it. Let's see. Hey Dave, heard you on a podcast recently. Oh, I know which podcast it was because I've only been on one podcast ever in my life, so that's awesome. It was the Ship It podcast. I believe it came out 2 or 3 weeks ago. So that's awesome. That's great to hear. Good to have people with deep technical knowledge sharing what they know. Hey, I appreciate it. That's super fun. Yeah, that was a super fun podcast. It was like Justin and Autumn are just really cool people. They were super easy to vibe with, and I liked it because we could dive into the deep technical stuff, but then we could come back up and just kind of talk about like coffee and hot chocolate, I think, towards the end. Super fun. I really appreciated that. Excellent things. Can you say hi to my friend and colleague Chris? He'll love that. Yo, what's up, Chris? My name's Dave, and you suck at programming. And this is a hello from your friend Uber Shiny Sheep and myself, Dave. You suck at programming. How's that? Will you keep this live on YouTube? Yes. I believe YouTube is good now. When you are done with a live, I think it has like a separate section where the live streams go. So I'm not going to unlist this. The whole VOD will be available. On YouTube. I'm not going to take the VOD out. I might take this and clip this up and turn it into like vertical format so I can post on Instagram and stuff. But this like live stream, yeah, I'm going to leave the VOD up. Don't worry about that. Give me a second. I'm going to go to my webcam controller and figure out why it keeps blinking at me. Because I do think it has some sort of like AI where it's supposed to like try and detect my face. And I hate that. Enable auto tracking. I don't know how it's doing it. Here we go. Gestures. Yeah, let's turn all that crap off. Yeah, so hopefully that fixed it. Cool. Base Rust. Yeah. I love Rust. I really do. Rust is so much fun. Cheers from Brazil. Yo, what's going on? And yeah, hopefully your friend Chris likes that. All right, so we're going to look through this because I'm probably just going to answer questions. Let's be honest. I probably won't do too much coding. If I was going to do coding, I might have to turn chat off. And the truth is, I don't want to turn chat off. I actually would rather chat with you guys. Like, honestly, like, what do you guys prefer? Do you prefer the big camera? And where I can just talk to you guys like this? Because, I mean, I'm not really doing much of the terminal. Or do you like the terminal? Let me know which one you guys like better. I'll stick with that one. Have you messed with systemd socket services? I was thinking of making something similar and run it and using SoCat, similar to netcap and more powerful, to listen on a port. Yeah, a lot of stuff there. Yeah, I've used SoCat in the past, so I'm familiar with it. I know systemd does socket activation. I think I was just talking about it yesterday on Instagram Live, where we were talking about named pipes, like make FIFO, and how you can use that to have like one-to-one communication. But that's different than a socket where you could have one listener and multiple clients connecting to it. Short of the fact that I know systemd has socket activation, I couldn't tell you anything about it. I don't know how it works. I don't know what it even means. What it means, I think it's like a service starts listening on a socket and something else like checks, and that's how it knows. So you can avoid race conditions. You can kind of signal that things are done loading so you can start things in the right order. I could be totally wrong. I could be absolutely wrong there. I don't know much about systemd. I'm going to be totally honest. I just don't use it. So I don't know much about it, but I believe it's for like handling dependencies and starting things up in the right order. So you can kind of create like what are they called? Like one of those like those graphs for like a state machine, and you can a dependency graph. You can create a dependency graph and start things in the right order and maximize. That's not right. Maximize your parallelism. That's what I was trying to say. Maximize your parallelism is what I was about to say, and that's totally wrong. Maximize your parallelism. So that's pretty cool. Live HTTPS request in pure bash. Let's go. That live would take probably days. So, but actually, it's funny you should bring that up. What machine am I logged into? I think if I log into Void and we go into YSAP, look at that. YSAP/bash web request. It's in process, my friend. It is in process. I am working on it, and the video is going to be legendary. But we are not doing that today on this stream. Let's see. Do you apply AI for your day-to-day coding tasks? No. No, I do not. Not at all. I've used it in the past to see like what all the hype was about, and like it does some cool stuff, but I just have no use for it. If I'm like boilerplating something, I'm looking at code that someone else has wrote and going off of that. If I'm problem solving, I just kind of am using the tools I know how to use. I have no real reason to use AI or bring it in. Let's see. What types of tasks is Rust typically used for? I've been considering learning it, but knowing its use cases would help me make that decision. I mean, all sorts of stuff. It's a good general purpose language. What I like about it is you get what feels like high level abstraction. So sometimes it even feels like as simple as a scripting language, but it's still compiled. And some of those abstractions are zero cost, meaning the compiler just completely gets rid of them. So me as the programmer, I can think in the world of abstractions, but then when it gets compiled down, it gets compiled down to very efficient code. So even though it uses a lot of like high level features like that, you can go low level with it. You can get like systems level programming, which is really cool. So a lot of times, a lot of the stuff I use it for, I pull in the Nix crate, NIX, I believe it is. So you can get like actual direct interfaces to like Unix stuff. So you can do like systems level stuff with it, which is really, really cool because some of the high level stuff it has is amazing. You could do like a no standard build, which pulls out the standard library. So you just have base Rust. So you can do it on like embedded systems, but the standard library is amazing. So if you want to use that, I mean, you get like hash maps and like all sorts of cool stuff. So yeah, I mean, you can use it for all sorts of things. Do you work with any sort of embedded systems, e.g. Raspberry Pi or so? I typically don't. I have a couple Raspberry Pis, but like short of just tinkering around, I never really bother with them. Bash web request over a TCP socket. What's your question? I mean, you put a question mark there, but I don't know what the question is. Thoughts on Rust input to validation for utils? I feel guilty for not bothering on simple stuff, but it is a fair amount of overhead. I don't. Can you give me an example of what you mean by that? I'm not sure what that question is asking. Because like if you're writing a command line utility, yes, it's good to validate your input, but at the same time, you have to know when it's appropriate to validate it versus when you need to trust the user. Like some tools trust the user not to shoot themselves in the foot, and the user has all the right in the world to shoot themselves in the foot. At the end of the day, sometimes that's Unix. So let's see. What do you work at? What do you do on a normal day? Yeah, a lot of dealing with freshly racked servers. I don't say where I work or anything specific about it. I don't like to talk about my job on here. But I'm dealing with freshly racked servers and handling the hardware validation behind them. So making sure we have the right things, then making sure the motherboard is correct, like we have the right basically versions of everything that we have installed. Like, oh, do we have the right sticks of RAM? Are they the right size? Do we have the right hard drives? Is it racked in the correct position? Do we need to do firmware upgrades on this thing? Do we need to bring the BIOS up to date? Do we need to handle the BMC? Like, there's all sorts of stuff that goes into it. So yeah, that's kind of what I deal with. Is it possible to use Rust or Golang with C++ for backend? I'm not really sure what you mean for backend. If you could break that down, maybe I could better answer that question. What is your least favorite programming language? I don't know. I'm not much of a hater. So the answer I'm going to give you is just sort of my personal bias. I don't really like C++. I just don't. I also don't really care much for Perl. I think Perl is incredibly important, and it solved an amazing issue back then. But now it's just sort of like, it's really, really difficult to work with, I find. It's one of those languages that has been around forever, so you can see different parts of the language were from different eras, and if that makes sense. If you input a directory, maybe you should check for it. Yeah, no, I mean, no. Like, I typically don't do things like that. If I'm writing a CLI tool and I ask the user for a directory, I just treat what they gave me as if it's a directory and then catch any sort of error that would happen there. and this happens all the time. Like, say you write a CLI tool that expects a file, and then you go to do some file operation, and you get E is dir, like error is directory. It's just an error. So like, you just return it back to them, and be like, hey, like, you I asked for this and you gave me that. You give them the error when it's appropriate, I think. I wouldn't do the checking ahead of time, because then you enter the race condition. This is the classic stat a file before you open it. It's like, no, don't stat the file first and then open it. That's a race condition. Just try to open the file and handle like no ent, so you can check that there was no file there. That's how I'd approach it. What made you decide to go more into IC in your career versus management? At a bit of a crossroads and wondering if and how you got to make that choice. I made this choice. The nice thing is, I always wanted to code. I just like coding. I don't care about management. I find it super boring. I just have no drive towards it. And the nice thing is, when you don't really have that drive, the opportunities don't come up super often. Like, the people who become managers are typically the people who want to become managers. It kind of self-selects that way, which is nice. I think it's great. I've been proposed that at different times in my career. People are like, would you be interested in this? And I just straight up tell them, like, no. Like, that's the thing. People are weird when it comes to their job. They beat around the bush and they have these conversations with their boss. It's like, their boss asks them, like, would you want to be management? And in their head, they're like, no, but they're like, I do think that'd be a good opportunity. And like, no, don't lie. I just tell them straight up, be like, yeah, no. Like, I have no desire to do that. Like, that's just the truth. Like, Dave, would you want to be a manager? No. Oh, man. Yeah, look into FFI. That's how I was interpreting that question, but I wasn't sure if that's what they meant. Because when I heard C++ in the back end, I was like, okay, is there like a back end server? And we have like a web front end. So do you want to do like a Rust front end like that and then talk to a C++ back end? They're communicating over some sort of protocol like HTTP. Then yeah, that's possible. Otherwise, you're talking about some sort of library that's already compiled C++, and then you need to tie into it with Rust. Then you would look into FFI, which is the foreign function interface, I believe it is. Yeah. FFI is super cool because it like allows me and Rust to like call C functions, which is super nice. Or functions that were written in C and then were compiled. It's better to be on the battlefield. I think so. I find it more fun. I like to program. I could see management, maybe. No, I'd rather just like be a teacher or something. Like if I, in like a couple decades or something, maybe sooner. I don't know. I don't have a plan. I don't have like a future plan for my career. I just kind of wing it. As long as I'm writing code and getting paid, I'm happy. Oh, man. All right, what do we have here? Well, that's simple. I think list was working like 100%. Was it recompiling? What's going on here? Have you ever programmed in Delphi or Pascal? I've been doing it for 4 years and it's a bit tiring. I'd like a change of pace. Nope. No, I have not. And from what I've heard from people who have, thank God I have not, it sounds like it'd be brutal. So no, I don't have any experience with that. Last question, I promise. You can ask as many questions as you want. Don't worry about it. I enjoy the questions. Every question you ask will get chopped up into an Instagram video, and that is my unlimited content glitch. So please ask away. How and where did you learn woodworking? How and where did you learn woodworking? I think I've told this story before, but I've learned woodworking the classic way that all men learn woodworking. I went through a bad breakup. Like, I know it sounds cliche, but like, cliches are cliches for a reason. So yeah, around like 2016, I just kind of got into it and it was really cool. It was fun to build stuff with your hands. And I have parents that have always been into DIY home improvement stuff. So they knew a lot of stuff there and a lot of YouTube. And that's kind of how I got into it. Yeah. I love when people quote me back to myself. As long as I'm writing code and getting paid, I'm happy. Hey man, like, yeah, 100%. Full flex. Hey bro. Yeah. What's up? That sounds like a lot of info to keep track of for your work. What sort of knowledge-based system, Evernote, Obsidian, Notion, do you use? Me personally? You're going to hate this. I have a shared directory of text and markdown files that I edit with Vim. That's how I keep track of my notes. I start with a text file. If they've upgraded enough, they will become a markdown file. If it's upgraded enough, it will become a blog post. So there are times where I need to look up how I did something, and I will go to my own blog. Like all my woodworking in my like life is on my blog post. So when people are like, "Oh, how did you build this?" I'm like, I don't remember at this point. It's been 8 years. Let's go to my blog and find it. Like I'll literally, I'm not even kidding. I will go to Google and I will like type in Dave Eddy long desk, and I will find my blog post on how I built actually the desk that you can't see, but like that's actually here. So my computer desk I built. So that's kind of where I store a bunch of my knowledge. So yeah, sorry for the coughing. I think I'm getting over something. Recently updated my R620 to an R730 XT. Sadly, don't work directly in tech, but I put these machines to use for local artists who are interested in better control of their archives. Hey, that's awesome. Yeah, I definitely want to hear more about that. I think it's super cool to like show people like, hey, you can have your own physical servers and you can back up like data to them and actually use them. Because people ask me like, Dave, are you backing up to the cloud? You should back up to the cloud. I'm like, dude, I back up to my server in my closet, and then it backs up to the cloud. Where's the cloud? It's in my buddy's house. It's an encrypted server I have in my buddy's house. That's my backup. Let's see. Literally same on the woodworking. I left a relationship, fortunate enough to buy some kit and have space, and now I just like chopping and gluing. Hey, yeah, it scratches some itch. It is therapeutic. Yeah, it definitely helped me through some tough times. I'm always looking for a way to organize my information for work. I currently use VimWiki for keeping track of miscellaneous information for work. Same, sync via Dropbox across machines. Yeah, so literally I have a directory full of my markdown and text files, and the way I sync them, I used to use Git, and that was super annoying because like merge conflicts, because I didn't really care much about them. I use, I believe it's Sync Thing is the name of it. So I just run Sync Thing, and that's how I sync my notes to this desktop, my laptop, and some other machine. Oh, a server. So a server's always listening. It kind of, we'll just have a good backup of it. Sync Thing also has all of my USucker programming stuff. So the USucker programming stuff that you guys don't see, like my actual thumbnail files, the raw footage, all of that is backed up with Sync Thing. So I have like 300 gigs of like raw footage that is backed up to my server, which gets backed up to my buddy's house. So like, yeah, I'm crazy about those backups. I love when remote is just a machine I have at my folks and vice versa. Yeah, I think it's great. Like it works. Excuse me. Sorry. This is a nightmare. Yo, Ox, what's up, dude? Great content. Keep it up. Yo, appreciate it, man. Welcome to the stream, dude. Glad you're here. That's awesome. What are we talking about? Yo, we're just chilling. Don't worry. We're just hanging out, having a good time. What about rsync? Yeah, I love rsync. Absolutely. So this desktop, I do video editing on it. I do music production on it. I do all sorts of stuff on it. My laptop, I do all sorts of other stuff on it. I will rsync them to the server downstairs, and that server will back up nightly to my buddy's house using ZFS send and receive. But I love rsync. Rsync is so good. So good. Any gotchas running server out of a closet, multiple fiber lines, battery backups? I don't have any fiber. I don't go crazy. I mean, the gotchas are like, you're going to pay in electricity, like depending on how, like my servers that I have downstairs, I think pull about, I have a battery backup so I can see this. They pull about 450 watts an hour. So like, or yeah, 450 watt hours. So like I'm paying for that. I completely understand. I'm paying more money than I would if I had them somewhere else. I mean, I'd be paying a subscription or something. It might even out. I have no idea. I don't care. I like to run it myself and control my own data. That's one of the biggest gotchas. The other thing is, if you run your own data, you're responsible for your backups. Like that's it. So like, if my house were to like catch on fire and like, lose everything, like that stuff would be gone. You just have to be aware of all the little things like that. All the when you outsource to like a third party cloud provider or whatever, you don't have to worry about some of the stuff. You have to worry about different things, like people have access to your data. So it's, what is it? You just have to figure out there's a word for it, security people use, but I can't think of what it is right now. But you just have to figure out what works for you. But yeah, I like battery backups. I use was it, like APC or whatever. I think I have one on this desktop actually, which is cool because Mac, even on the top of my Mac, I can click it and it can tell me I have a UPS plugged in. And so my Mac, even though it's a desktop, it has a little battery notification on the taskbar, which tells me how much battery I have left, which is pretty cute. Super nice. You can minimize 100% of your electricity tax with this one simple trick. Neighbors hate it. That's so true. Oh my god. Luckily, I live kind of far away from neighbors, so that is nice. But it is difficult when I want to leech off their electric line. So, you win some, you lose some. All right, so I don't remember what else List did on this. Let's see. List takes a string to filter on. So I think I can just do like system. Oh, I can do like, let's do PF. Oh, cool. So this is just a raw string match. If PF shows up anywhere in the service name, that's how that works. Okay, that's convenient because then I can just do like Nagios, NRP. Oh, I can do OOC application. Cool. Okay. Let's do list-h. What's your approach to error handling / writing secure code? Early on in a dev career, and I'm constantly worried that there could be something I'm unaware of. There's always going to be stuff you're unaware of. That's just like a general lesson. But the goal is just to minimize the amount of it the best you can. So, I mean, asking this question is a great way to start. When it comes to error handling and writing secure code, you have to define what secure is. Because secure could be so many different things. Like, you could have a memory overflow and that's insecure, but you could also have user validation problems on like the higher level parts, and that's also insecure. So it's going to be at all different levels of the stack this can happen. My advice is, this is going to sound weird, don't try to get fancy. Don't try to get fancy. Don't try to like, it's going to sound counterintuitive and it sounds like you can clip me out of context here. Don't try to catch every error. And what I mean by that is literally don't try to write your code to handle every error. Let your code break when there's an error. Not because of undefined behavior, not because you didn't properly detect the error. Detect the error, but don't try to fix or work around it. Just crash. Programs that just die when they encounter an error that they don't know how to continue from, beautiful. Immaculate, amazing. I love it. If your program encounters something it doesn't know how to deal with, don't try to hobble along and be like, oh, well, that was kind of weird, but maybe we could kind of work for the user. Don't do that. Don't kind of work. Either work 100% or just crash. That's my mentality. Obviously, there's like a whole bunch of nuance there when it comes to what you're designing and what it should do. Obviously. But yeah, fail fast. Fail early and fail fast. So many people, especially when they're starting their career, they're like, "Oh, well, yeah." Like, I'll ask a question like, "Oh, what happens when a user gives like things like gives input like this?" And like, "Oh, you're right. That would do this. I should catch it. It's like, no. Wait, hold on. It crashes when they do that. Like, that might be a good thing if it crashes in a way that you expected, not in an undefined behavior sort of way, unless you define it. Yeah. How do you write unit testing in bash scripts? This is a great question. Do you know why this is a great question? Because currently I really don't. I just write my own bash scripts that source the code I've written and then assert that things work the way they should. But it's kind of ad hoc and it changes with all of my programs that I write. But there is a bash unit testing framework out there called Bash Unit. I have not tried it yet, but the people who are behind it, they've reached out to me and I've talked to them. Actually, we've been in the DMs and I told them I was going to check out their stuff and they gave me the go ahead to actually rip through it, like look through the source code and critique it in a video. So I'll probably get to that next month. I'm thinking in November, I will be able to get to that and look through it and we'll learn more about Bash Unit together. So that's what I know about, but I've never used it, so I can't vouch for it. But, I mean, the guy seemed pretty cool. So, it's got to count for something, right? All right, let's see. You have list-a. That gives a whole bunch of stuff. List-c for contracts. So these are the ones that actually have PIDs associated with them. That's cool to see. We can sort them. Right now we sort them time, fMRI. Oh, there's all sorts of stuff we can sort them on. How about time state? Oh, they're all gonna be in the same state. Yeah, that makes sense. State time dash A. Cool, so all the stop ones are up here, and then here, and then organized by time next. Okay, I got a lot of work done in this software, and I just kind of let it sit for a year. What was I thinking? Tree. Oh, this one was cool. List dash T. This is going to be a lot. So this shows the service that's running, but if the service has an associated contract, which is processes running, it will actually do a P tree on them, so we'll get a nice process tree for that. So we can see that the SSH service is running, and we can see that SSHD is running here, and this is what it's forking, and this is what it's forking. And look at this, we can actually see the command running itself because it caught itself. So that's pretty neat. That's cool to see. Brute? B-root? I have no idea what that is. Did I make enable? I did not make enable. Okay, so enable doesn't work. Oh yeah, look at this. This is just a to-do here. I think status and log. Okay. Oh, this is beautiful. I actually just fork an exec tail. Oh, that's so gorgeous. Okay. So I should be able to do you use any IDEs, JetBrains, VS Code, etc., or just Vim? Just Vim. I just use Vim. Gets the job done. Like any programming I do is just in Vim. It's so easy. I don't need anything fancier. Log. So how does this work? Log. I think I can just do SSH and UTMP, and it should pull the log files for both of them. Oh yeah, beautiful. So we have the SSH UTMP. I don't know why I print out the files when tail prints out the files. I could probably just skip doing that. Yeah, there's probably no reason to print them out. Let's see. Dash F UTMP SSH. Cool. That's fine. How often you do this live stream? It's my first time ever streaming on YouTube. I stream on Instagram maybe once every couple of weeks. I don't really have a set schedule. I'm kind of doing this as a test run to see if people would want to watch live streams. I don't really know what I would do or when I would do it, but it's fun. It's kind of fun. Okay, so B-root or brute, I don't know how you're supposed to pronounce it. It's a pretty nice tree alternative, keeps everything on one screen. That's cool. Yeah, I've never heard of it. Yeah, because I know Linux, I think, has PS tree. I'm on a Lumos, so I don't have that. I have P tree, which is my process tree. Which you can see on a Lumos machine that doesn't run anything. It's actually pretty low, or pretty small, which is nice. Got like cron and stuff. Oh look, cups is running. That's nice. I can't wait to print to it. Yeah, and there's us running P tree. That's pretty nice to see. And then there's our init process running as PID 4560. It's the beauty of software virtualization. It's not PID 1. Excuse me. All right, so log works. So we just need disable, enable, and I didn't look at status. And list seemed good. Okay, yeah. So like what was I missing? Color aware string. Oh god. Okay, I think I overcomplicated something here. It's been a year since I've looked at this code. I think the problem with this thing was I started doing this. Yeah, I think I inserted all these strings into a hash map here. And then I printed out that hash map based on something, and I think I got something wrong. I don't remember. Oh yeah, look at this. I do print lines here. And because of these print lines, they get printed before the stuff in the hash map gets printed. And that's what was causing the issue. Ooh, god, this code needs some cleanup. Let me just cargo format real quick. Let's remember what's wrong with this. Cargo run status, and it needs a service. Let's check the status of SSH. Okay, so I like this style of output, but this should be at the top. These should all be at the top, and then these are the dependencies and the dependents. They should be at the bottom. So the order should be reversed. The reason that happens is because these are stored in a hash map. These are printed directly. So I need to figure out what my plan of attack was for this, because I don't remember how I planned on doing this. I don't remember what's wrong with it, to be honest. Do you connect your Vim to any Gen IA models to speed up your scripting process? What is Gen IA? Or like Gen AI? Do you mean just like AI or LLM or machine learning stuff? Because no, I don't. To speed up your scripting process, speed isn't the issue. I don't need to speed it up. Like that's, I've never been upset by how long it takes for me to write something. A lot of the time is spent not even writing code. Writing code's the easy part. Like the time is spent in my head trying to understand how I want to architect this. Like as you can see, all the information I need is here. I already got all this information. It's easy to get this information. It's hard to figure out how I want to architect the code where I can store this and then where I want to process the formatting. So like where I can detect how many spaces should be on the left side here so they all get aligned correctly here. That logic and stuff, I need to figure out how to do that in the right order. Maybe an AI can help me with it, but I don't care. I don't I guess I don't want its help. That's really what it comes down to. Assuming that's what the question meant. Format status map. Okay, so this takes the hash map that has everything in it. We calculate the max length, and then we use that to push it to the left. Oh yeah, we have a pad start method on a color aware string. Okay, and that's how we do it. And then we join the things on new lines. And if I, okay, so that's where we print it all at the end. So if I were to print like Dave here, it should show all that. It should show, yeah, this stuff. So Dave should appear right between this line and this line. Nailed it. Okay. So yeah, I remember how this code works. Let's see. What's the question here? What's the most tricky / interesting bug you encountered while programming? I don't know. I'd have to think about that more. Nothing immediate comes to my brain. Yeah, I'll have to think about that more and get back to you with a good answer, because I can't think of anything like that. Can you walk us through a code planning / architect? Yes, not right now, but I'm planning on doing that in some sort of video, I think, where I'll do like how to approach something from zero, how to actually like come up with an idea in your head and then actually work towards finishing it. So yeah, I definitely want to do something like that. How do I not abstract this code so much that when I look at this in a week, I still understand it? That's the that's the real time. It's like, that's so true. That's so true. And this happens where some people will completely over-engineer and over-abstract their code to the point where it's like, you don't even understand what's happening. It's like, okay, we've lost the plot. Like, this code's not even easy for a programmer to understand. Like, I'm okay with code being complex, but I'm not okay with it being needlessly tedious. That's the part where I have an issue with. But this happens, you ever notice, like, this happens with people sometimes where, oh man, sometimes it's like pulling teeth. I'll talk to someone that's like smart. And I'm not using that quote, I'm not using the quotes dismissively, but someone will have like a smart guy persona where they're like, oh yes, I'm a genius and I know all this stuff. So when you ask them how something works, they give you a very abstract, digested answer. And it's like, bro, I don't want that. I want 2 examples that I'll come up with the rule in my head, and then you can correct me if the rule's not right. But they're like if I was talking about this code where I'm like, oh yeah, like this line right here, format status map, it takes an index map, which is basically a hash map, and it loops over them and it prints them to the screen. Now imagine I was like, oh yes, so this function down here is a formatter function. The main goal is to take an input that has been, it's been stored in a data structure that makes sense for what it is. And what it outputs is a different form, so it transmutes the data. It's like, bro, calm down. Just give me the answer that I asked for. It's called format status map. It takes a hash map in and it returns a string. Done. Like, that's it. That's it. Like, your brain can figure out how to, deal with it and abstract whatever you need to. I don't know. I went off on a tangent there, but like, yeah, that's how I feel about it. So yeah, what was my issue? What did I do wrong here? So I gather everything for service and services. Okay, so the person can specify multiple arguments. Let's just assume there was one. We create a new map. We get the dependencies of the service, we get the dependents of the service, and we get the log files of the service. Then we stylize everything we know about the service, and then we input them into here. Oh, so we call it fMRI, but we encode the state? I get it, but that seems like an oversight. But okay, that's fine. If the service is a contract ID, then we cast it to a U32 and we insert the contract ID, and then we loop over and we get the PIDs and we join them by commas. Hey, that makes sense. That's fine. This might look weird if there's like 1,000 PIDs, but I'll have to limit that. I'll worry about that later. Seriously, 100% agree. True words have never been spoken. Yeah. So based on DMs I have received and comments I have gotten on all of my social media, I think that this is something that people resonate with. I think there are a lot of tech creators out there that live in this world of like, I don't want to say being pretentious because I don't want to actually like attack. I don't mean it that way. But I think some people live in this world of weird abstraction and like pseudo intellectualism where they try to come down like they're holier than thou. They're like, oh, you would write it like this? Well, I would do this. And it's like, at the same time, they're talking down to you. They're talking about how they don't actually write any code and they just go to like ChatGPT and generate it that way. And it's like, I don't know, like at a certain point, it's like talking down to someone who goes to the gym being like, well, I just bring my forklift and my forklift can bench 2 tons. It's like, yeah, okay, who cares? Like, that's literally not the problem here. And I think, so like I said, the comments I get, I think are refreshing for people where I'm like, guys, look, let's just keep this down to earth. I'm going to talk about code. I'm going to show you guys actual code. I'm going to talk about what's directly in front of me. We can talk about the philosophy behind it when it's relevant, but like, I don't know. I like to keep it down to earth and just keep it like very approachable, like conversation style. Yeah, good old, yeah, keep it simple. Exactly. Kiss, keep it simple, Stu, but that's the goal here. Like, I don't need to overcomplicate it. I can. I know how to speak some fancy words and blow things way out of proportion, make them sound way better than they are. But I hate doing that, salesman style speak. It just doesn't do much for me. At them for science. No, I'm good. I feel like a lot of people in tech are also poor communicators as well. Context is everything. I agree with that. And I want to put some caveats around that. People have this way, I'm not saying you're doing this, but some people do this when they're like, oh yeah, people in tech are just bad communicators. They say this as though that can't change. They say that as though this is just a given. And this happens a lot in human nature. People will be like, oh, well, it's just because of this. And it's like, okay, but that's not concrete. That's not set in stone. Like some people in tech are bad communicators. Some people when they're learning tech are bad programmers, but you can practice and get good at it. Communication is something you can practice and get good at it. I mean, boot up a live stream, sit in front of a mic and do this for hours on end for like weeks and you'll become way better at it. Like I promise you will. It's incredible how well you can go from brain to mouth if you practice it. You have to actually practice it. Some people are like, I just wasn't born with that skill. It's like, bro, no one was born being able to talk. We all had to learn how to do it. Like, some people just stopped at different parts of the process. Like, I don't know what you want me to tell you. But yeah, I wish more people would practice that. So as a result, you get some sort of tech creators that come on here and I'm not throwing shade and I'm not calling out anyone specifically, but I notice that sometimes happens where they come up here, they have really good information, but they cannot communicate it well. And then you can see them get frustrated when their stuff's not being received well. It's like, yeah, because you didn't take the time to give it to me in a way that I would want to hear it. Like it actually, yeah, I don't know. That's how I feel about that. Me explaining the internet. It's like a hotel with different rooms and street addresses, and the list of rooms is DNS. Yeah, I think sometimes those kind of analogies can help, where you can explain like street numbers and names and stuff like this and how they can represent. Like if you were going to explain like encapsulation of like a hardware line and then the Ethernet above that, IP above that, TCP above that, HTTP above that. If you were to talk about the whole like OSI model, like yeah, it makes sense to compare it to like, okay, well we have a street and then we have cars and then we can drive to your house and there's a house number there and there's a name of someone who lives in that house number. Like you can do all sorts of stuff like that. I think that's super useful. Clean and simple. That's how I like it. Simple and clean. Curious about context of what you're building. Just hopping into the stream. I'll show you in a second. Yeah, because I'm building something I think is pretty neat. What language is this? This is Rust that I have open currently. Here's the thing. I don't think I'm getting much coding done in this stream. I think I'm spending more time yapping. But we're having fun. So what I'm working on here is I am on an Illumos kernel. So some people think I'm running Linux. This is not Linux. This is Illumos, which is the fork of OpenSolaris. So if I were to run like a uname, you can see we have SunOS, and I think uname. Actually, wait. Can I do OS release? Do I have that? Hey, I do. Yeah, so I'm running, the distribution is OmniOS Community Edition, and that's what I'm running, and is running off of the Illumos kernel. So Illumos, to manage its services, just like, Ubuntu would have systemctl, or Void Linux would have the SV command for run it, this has svcs. SVCS will list my services. So these are all the services running on this machine. Not every service has a PID associated with it. So some of these services are kind of like, I think systemd has the concept of one shot. Some of these system services are just one shot. They just run a script or they run a command and then they're done. And they go into the online state. Other ones are continually running. So like, for example, SSH would be something that I know is running. So I could do svcs SSH and I can see it's online. I can do svcs-p SSH and I can find the associated PID with it. Excuse me. There's other things you can do. I think svcs-l PSSH. Yes, this is a long listing. This is super useful. So this tells you everything you know about SSH, and this is what the output looks like. So there's other commands. There's like svc-adium. I can do svc-adium restart SSH. This is safe to run because it's going to fail because I'm running as the user Dave. It's going to get permission denied because I need to sudo it. So what's happening is I'm working on a command to basically abstract this or wrap this. It literally is wrapping the svcs and svc-adium commands, and I'm working on a command to prettify it. Just make it pretty. That's all I'm doing here. So if we cargo run my command, let's run it with -h. I might have to recompile. I don't remember if I changed anything. There's all sorts of subcommands. So we have a disable, enable, list, log, and status. So disable would disable service, enable would enable it, obviously, list to list services, log to get the service log files, and status to get the service status. So we can do list, and we get the same output as before, but look, it's all colorized. We can see if there's a contract associated, which means there's processes running, so I can see the number of PIDs and how long ago this process was started. So I can look down and see like, oh, hey, look, SAC has 2 PIDs associated with it under contract 742. Contracts is an Illumos, like Solaris type of thing. I think Linux has namespaces or C groups. I don't know much about them. I'm just going to tell you that right now. But I think that's like probably the closest analog to it. But from here, we could do status, SSH. And then this output's bad. The output's bad. It should be sorted. This is what I'm working on. This should be at the bottom of it. But long story short, this gives you a nice color output where I can see like, oh, SSH, here it is. It's online. It's the SSH server. It was started 4 months ago. It's running on the zone arbiter. It has this contract. These are the PIDs associated with it. 8 dependencies, 1 dependent, and 1 log file. So the 8 dependencies are here. The 1 dependent is here. And the 1 log file is here. So obviously the output's out of order. It's not great. I need to fix that. That's what I was working on today. So what are you building? Hopefully what I went over, barrel of lube, enlightened you as to what I'm building. Sorry. Dude, literally such a wild coincidence. I just came from aliasing a bunch of systemctl commands because I hate writing it. Yeah, I get that. I don't deal with systemctl much on Void Linux. Actually, I could show you guys this. Actually, Linux doesn't have contracts because Linux sucks. Yeah, Linux doesn't have contracts. I think they have C groups and namespaces. I believe you can get something similar to it, but again, I don't know much about it. But here, I'll SSH into Void. This is a machine that's running Void Linux. It's a virtual machine. But so if I wanted to see what services are running, I could do sv var service star because each service is a directory. So we're just going to glob over them. Oh, is it status? Oh, sorry. I haven't run this command in so long. Status. And then it fails because it's not able to open them. So let's sudo it. So here's what it would look like on Void Linux if I were to do run it manually. So I'd have to type in the exact path, and this is what the output looks like. Here's what VSV looks like, the Void Service Manager. When I run this, look at that output. Way prettier. We have colors. We have the PID associated with it, if it's running, if it's enabled, the name of the command that's running, how long ago it was ran. And there's all sorts of flags you can give VSV. So I think VSV has like -T, which will give you the tree. So we can actually see like, oh yeah, Docker's running and here's all the Docker crap. SSHD is running and we can see everything that's associated with it. So VSV is sort of what inspired me. And VSV, I wrote it. So like I'm the author of this command. I wrote it for Void. Now I'm writing it for SMF on Illumos. So that's my goal here. Let's see, what exactly is this entire system meant to do? I'm a complete noob, and why build something on SunOS in the first place? It's just what I'm running on my server downstairs. So the server downstairs does a whole bunch of stuff. It's my Plex server. I back up my data to it. It does all sorts of different tasks. It's my DNS server. It's my DHCP server. And I'm comfortable with Illumos. I can build zones instead of containers. Zones are like containers, similar concept. It feels weird saying that. But yeah, you can think of zones like containers, and then I can run hardware virtualization on top of it. So this Void VM is running on my server. Arbiter is running on the server. If I log into the hypervisor, I can log into the bare metal itself. You can see on the global zone here, I can do a ZADM list, and this will list all my zones. So this is the physical hardware that's running all these zones. So you can see like Void is running on them. What was the other one we were in? Arbiter. These are all just VMs that are running. So this thing is running, this many VMs. This machine is a powerhouse. So like PSR info-VP, we can see is a 32 core processor. So 32 physical cores, 64 threads, 64 virtual processors. So if I were to run HTOP, you'll see like there's 64 of them, 256 gigs of RAM. I can do pertconf grep mem. And we can see, 256 gigs of RAM on this bad boy. Do I have that command? What was that command that I wrote? I wrote a command for this. OmniFetch? Yeah, OmniFetch. Oh, the dragon didn't show up. There's a dragon here in ASCII. I don't know why that didn't show up. If I pipe it to cat. There he is. I don't know why he didn't show up. I'll have to look into that. But yeah, we can see I'm running OmniOS, 64 of these processors, up 134 days. We have 256 gigs of RAM. We got 88 services running, 20 zones running, and we have 2 ZFS pools. So we have a 65 terabyte pool and a 4 terabyte pool, effectively. So this is my powerhouse server. Excuse me. Let's see. I dig it. Sort of like how Brew outputs services. I've never actually looked at Brew and how it has service management. I know it has some service management stuff built into it, but I've never actually worked with it. Which is weird because I use Macs and I use Brew all the time. So it's interesting that I don't. I hope to be good enough at programming to be able to contribute to an OS. Yeah, just start. You just got to jump in. Don't try to like get good enough. Just, jump in and see if there's any sort of bugs or something you could tackle. Learn how to compile an operating system, learn how to iterate on it, and the next thing you know, you can just start tackling bugs in it. Don't let it be too scary in your brain or else you won't want to approach it. So this command that ran that shows this, I wrote this command as well. Like I said, there should be a dragon here, so I got to look into that. I'm doing something wrong with the codes here. This is so badass and insane. I cannot even grasp this. My smooth brain is incapable of this level of comprehension. What an incredible sentence. What a wild thing to say. Love it. I feel like having something other than Win Mac and Linux is a huge win for security. Absolutely. We got the obscurity going for us. Let's see. Been working on learning C++ and configuring Arch Linux on an old laptop. Small start, but soon enough, I'm going to look into doing open source contributions. Hey, that's awesome. That's great. You got to start somewhere, and that's a great way to start. Putting Linux on a machine and actually using it, yeah, that's a fantastic way to start. What all do you use it for? I mean, just backing up data to DHCP server, DNS server, Plex server, all sorts of stuff. I back up my photos to it, which has like a photo server that I can use and go look at and stuff. So all sorts of stuff. Did you learn Linux admin piece by piece or go through a course or something? purely curious. I was looking at Red Hat's course for Linux admin. Those are skills I'm going to focus on learning. A lot of the Linux and Unix admin stuff is kind of self-taught. I learned. But I also did go to school for what was originally computer science and then turned into like a slightly different degree that was more geared towards systems and networking. So I definitely went to school for some of this stuff, but a lot of I learned very little Linux admin stuff there, or Unix admin. A lot of it I learned on my own, just being super interested in it and wanting to learn. Yeah, because I mean, it's just super fun stuff. It really is. This cough is brutal. Yeah. Cool. I see. Now you're just a basement bash programmer. That's so true. I wouldn't have it any other way, honestly. I like what I do, and I like making content, and I love that people are interested in the content. So that's super cool. Also, meta question for anybody who's still here and hanging out. How is the audio sounding? How is the stream looking? Is everything good? Because this is my first time ever streaming on YouTube. So I got OBS set up here. I got the live stream open here. I make it look like I know what I'm doing, but I really don't. I'm a boomer in a lot of ways. I'm a boomer who likes Gen Z slang, so I'm a mess. But yeah, how's it looking? How's it sounding? Are people liking this? Would people want me to do this more regularly? Maybe I would just hang out or come in with like a project and we would actually code like a project from start to finish. I think prepared videos and edited videos are probably better for projects because then I wouldn't get sidetracked by comments. And I love comments. I'll just sit here and talk all night. That's my problem. But yeah, just general thoughts. Stream looks good. Audio is very clear. Audio good. Video fine. Hey, this is awesome. This is great. Thank you, everybody. Looking good. Audio is fine, but a bit fuzzy. Okay, that's good to hear. I am just streaming a terminal. Yeah, it is hard to judge. Also, sometimes when I get loud, it looks like my volume's clipping, so hopefully it doesn't sound too terrible when it does that. Stream quality is perfect. Thank you. Nice lighting. Thank you. I have worked very hard on the lighting. I had to get this light set up properly behind me. I have 2 lights in front of me. Like, if I turn this one off, it looks terrible. So, yeah, I've worked on the lighting and tried to diffuse it properly. So, yep. Let's see, everything crisp. Nice. Your voice is husky. Get well soon. Thank you. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I started losing my voice, and like I said, I don't have many. I said this earlier. I don't have any like sick feelings. Like I'm not coughing. I guess I am coughing a little bit. I don't know. I took a COVID test yesterday. Maybe I'll take another one. But yeah, this is not my normal voice. This is way sicker than how I normally sound. So yeah, normally you have my bright, cheery, beautiful voice. You have my late night radio talk show host voice. Like, hey, how's everyone doing out there in radio land? Today we are learning programming. I promise I'll never talk to you guys like that. What do you think about SSH web apps like that coffee shop? I have heard of, I believe it's coffee.shop. I have never actually tried it. It seems like it'd be really cool. Yeah, so I'll check that out and I will see what all the hype's about because it seems like it'd be kind of cool. I totally watch more streams. Always love learning and I love your content. Hey, thank you so much. That's amazing. It's all good, dude. I think streams are just for questions and convo and just hanging around. I don't know. I agree. I think that's what they're for. I actually think they're for chilling. Because, like, I make prepared content. If I wanted to teach tech concepts, I'll teach tech concepts in my prepared content. This is nice just to come and, like, hang out. Unrelated, but any experience with using DigitalOcean's Droplet VPS? Looking for hosting for a client and wanted to find something cheap and reliable? Yes! I used them for years for my website. I'm not currently using them. That's for different reasons, but like I like their services. If I were going to go with a VPS provider, I would go with DigitalOcean. I think they have one that's like $4 a month. Yeah, it's great. Like for what it was perfect. It did exactly what I needed to do. Super reliable, like so minimal downtime. They gave me so much warning before they'd be rebooting the machine too. So like I could deal with it if I needed to. Like, yeah, they were fantastic. DigitalOcean was great. Well, cool. Awesome. So yeah, let's see. It's okay. I've been streaming for a little bit over an hour. That's nice. Sweet, sweet, sweet. I think I'm going to call the stream like in the next couple minutes, just giving people a fair warning. But yeah, I mean, thank you guys for showing up and hanging out. That's awesome. I didn't know how the stream would go, so it's fun to see. I don't know how YouTube is, so I hope no one donated any money because I didn't get any notifications of it, and I would hate to miss it. This isn't a weird, like, me trying to get you guys. Please don't. Like, I don't actually care about that. But yeah, I just want to make sure I don't miss anything cool. So yeah, I'm going to throw it out there. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, yada, 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 etc. Because it is true. When it comes to social media stuff, YouTube is the hardest to grow for me. My Instagram, for those who don't know, I have an Instagram and a TikTok. Instagram is at 152,000 followers. Like, that's absurd. TikTok's at 41,000 followers. Less absurd, but still really cool. YouTube's at 12,000 subscribers. It's the lowest of the three, but 12,000 is still really, really good. Like, really, really good. So I'm happy with it. But yeah, if you're not subscribed, go ahead and click that button because seeing that number go up is pretty dope. Let's see what we got here. Good to know. Thanks a ton. Yeah, no problem. What woodworking projects do you currently have going on? Nothing currently. I am redoing my bathroom downstairs. So my bathroom downstairs is ripped down to studs and drywall on certain spots. The bathtub is just completely gone. So like the toilet just looks at the wall. So it's not really a woodworking project. It's more like a DIY house project. I should probably take pictures of that and post on Instagram. It'd be kind of fun. Yeah. So no woodworking, but definitely house DIY project stuff. Would definitely tend another. Yo, appreciate it. Thank you. Where do we send our FAFSA? Get out of here. Thanks, Dave. Your channel is the highlight of the year for me. Thanks. The YouTube algorithm. Yo, I appreciate it. That's awesome. And I think it's so cool that people find my channel through the YouTube algorithm. Like, that's super sweet. Before I did programming, I did music content on a different channel. So there is a different channel out there called Dave Addy. It has 7,000 subscribers. To get to 7K subs took like 4 years. And it felt like the algorithm was against me, but I think it's just the music content I made was so... There was no direction, there was no niche, there was no anything. I've learned so many things since then. I've become way better at speaking. I know how to make thumbnails. I know how to intrigue people. So yeah, it's just super fun. I don't know how the YouTube algorithm suggested this live to me, but I'm very happy it did. I'm really like the kind of... Yo, I appreciate it. Thank you. That's so awesome. Yeah, it's funny when I talk to other content creators, it's interesting because it's their first time doing tech. So they ask me questions or doing content in general. Their tech content is their first time. And I'm like, I already went through a lot of this stuff with the music content because they get upset. They're like, oh, no one's watching my video, or I have less views on this, or this one's not doing good. Or my favorite, I put a lot of effort into this video only for it to not do well. Like, this is BS. And it's like, dude, that's what happens. It sucks. It hurts. It's a blow to your ego. All that stuff. But luckily I was able to hit that with the music channel. So now when it comes to the programming channel, I'm just like humble. I'm like, yo, people actually want to watch it. This is sick. Like, if I put out a video and it doesn't do well, I'm like, oh, whoops. Like, whatever. That sucks. So you kind of cool. You kind of like learn how to hook people in and make the content actually interesting, which is neat. Really cool to see that side of content creation. I guess success really isn't built on success, huh? It's so tough. I could literally make videos about content creation, everything I've learned, because in one way it is luck, but in other ways it's really not. And YouTube is not like Twitch or something. Like, YouTube is... It is like the most what you put in is what you'll get out of it. YouTube is probably the fairest one I've seen, where it's like, if your video didn't do well, it's probably because your video sucks. If it did well, it's probably because your video is good. Obviously, there are exceptions, but you'll find more exceptions on other social media platforms. YouTube seems to be the best. Like, when something goes viral, it makes sense why it goes viral. I found your content on Instagram, but honestly, most people won't go from Instagram to YouTube. They'll just hit follow on Insta. That's true. I've noticed that. I made a story on Instagram where I try to direct people here, and if 1 or 2 people show up, like if you show up, hey, that's great. You know, I did something. I will tell you this in general. Getting people to go from one social media platform to another, just at all, almost impossible. I mean, think about Twitch. Think about when Mixer was around, and what did they do? They paid tons of money to get Ninja and Shroud, And it's like, to get those followers from Twitch to go watch them, their numbers were like a fraction of what they're doing on Twitch, because people like the ecosystem of the platform more than they like the creator. That's a hard thing for people to learn. But if people weren't willing to switch for Ninja or Shroud, why would they switch for me? So like, you just kind of accept this stuff and you're like, yeah, that is what it is. Like, that makes perfect sense. Like, I get it. But yeah, interesting stuff. Oh yeah, now I'm sniffling. Oh man, maybe I'm definitely coming down with something. So that sucks. Subscribe to watch most every release. Bash hackers, so algo recommended. Love your vibe. Yo, appreciate it. That's awesome. I'm glad. Yeah, I'm not going to stop with the Bash content. I want to do the You Suck at Programming series. We're going to hit 50 episodes probably in the next couple of months. I want to hit 100 episodes. I want to keep going. And I talked about this before on a different stream, but I'll leave you guys with this. My plans for 2024 are to try to do some collabs with people. I want to brainstorm some collabs, because those are always fun when you watch a video with like your two favorite creators and they somehow come together. You would never expect it. So that'd be super fun to do collabs. I want to do more live streaming, which here I am. I'm doing it. And then I want to keep up what I'm doing. So there'll be more critiquing AI generated script videos. There'll be more You Suck at Programming videos, and there'll be more yapping content. That's what I call it, where it's just me and the webcam, and I'm just sitting there like just talking like, hey, what's up, everyone? So yeah, there'll be more stuff like that. So look forward to that. And then for 2025, I have 2 big things I'm working on. Obviously, I want to grow my socials, but I don't put those as a goal because that's kind of out of my control. Like, I can't put 100,000 subscribers on YouTube as a goal because I don't really control that. You guys control that. I can do my best to get my stuff pushed out there. I do want to hit 100K subs on YouTube. My God, to get one of those plaques, you know how cool that'd be? That'd be awesome. But my goal for 2025 is the Bash HTTPS pure request in Bash. So like doing a TLS, I want to do 1.3, maybe some elliptic curve stuff. I want to do an HTTP request in pure Bash. What I mean by pure Bash is we're not going to use curl. We're not going to use netcat. We're not going to use socat. We're not going to use any of that stuff. We're not going to use stunnel. We're not even going to use SHA-256 sum or like BC or floating point number stuff. We're going to do it all using Bash built-ins and nothing else. So that's my goal with that. That's one of the 2025 videos I want to do. The other one is I want to make a course. I want to do a Bash 0 to Hero video where I assume you know nothing, and I'm going to show you how to actually write some advanced scripts. I imagine that'll be, 4 to 5 hours worth of content. I'll do it on like a Linux box where people can actually see and have like a GUI where I can be like, let's make dir and then see how the folder appears, things like that. I don't know if I'll put that on Udemy or some paid course. I might just throw it on YouTube. I got to figure out how I feel about all that stuff. But those are my goals for 2025. Pure HTTPS requests and Bash course. So yeah, look forward to that stuff. Let's see. Your vids are awesome. I work on SSH and Linux, and yeah, no other channel I can relate to. Yo, I appreciate that. That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that. To help, I'll keep sucking at programming. Yo, that's a real one right there. Appreciate it. Exciting. Yeah, we do try. Started a computer programming college program with no background whatsoever. Yo, you got this. Don't worry. You'll learn. I believe in you. And remember, everyone sucks at programming when they start, and I've been programming for, oh God, almost 20 years, and I still suck. So like, you just learn more. You still suck, but you learn more. So it's fun. Making a whole course is so much work. Definitely get paid for it. Yeah. And when I posted about it on Instagram, all the comments are like, bro, I'll pay for this. Bro, I'll pay for this. So I might come up with something. I've also toyed with the idea of like putting it on a paid website and then putting a timer on it, being like, okay, it's going on Udemy, but in a year, it's going to YouTube for free. So if you want it now, pay for it. But this content will eventually be made free because I don't believe in... I hate lost media. I hate the concept of things being lost in time forever. So like if I put something out there and it's like behind a paywall, there's a time limit on that until I just release it for free. I keep all of my raw footage and all of my videos I've ever uploaded. One of the things I plan on doing is making some sort of like Dropbox or torrent or something available where it's like, here's all my videos, like go have them, because I don't want to see them get lost to time or be tied to a specific social media platform. That's a stretch goal. That's probably like, 2026 and beyond type of goal, but I want something like that. Yeah, because too many things just get lost to platforms where people are like, this platform will be around forever. And like, I mean, I remember people said that about MySpace photos. Like, don't put anything on the internet. It'll be there forever. It's like, really? Can I get my MySpace photos? Where are my photo bucket photos? Where's my LiveJournal stuff? Like, no, it's not. It's actually incredibly fleeting. Yeah, let's see. Would 100% buy a course after getting one of those Udemy discounts for 90% off? That's something I've heard about too. I don't know how the creator gets affected. Like if I put a course for $100 and there's 90% off, do I make $10 or do I make 100 or whatever Udemy's cut is? I actually don't know how that works. So I'm meaning to look into that. But yeah, cool. I think that's it for me. I think I'm going to call it here. Thank you everyone for stopping by. I don't know when I'll do one of these in the future. I would like to do them more regularly, but I'm not going to make any promises yet. But it seems like this format works pretty well. I actually enjoy it. So, so yeah, thank you for stopping by. Oh yeah, the HTTP bash video I think is my top viewed video on my channel. So I gotta make the follow-up video now. I mean, the algorithm loved it. Can you imagine multi-hour long video where I make an HTTPS request? Like you'd have to be insane to undertake this. Like I could see that video doing very well. And it'd be fun. It'd be fun to do. So yeah, thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you for hanging out. Subscribe if you haven't already. And yeah, I'll probably do more of these in the future. All right. Take care, everyone. Have a good one. You will not be able to reconnect. Your stream will stop and you